From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another conversation with Trent and Friends. Good stuff, man. We got a good one here tonight. As you saw in the opener there, that's the promotional feed for the recovery book. It's here. It is here, ladies and gentlemen. It's a recovery book on the recovery, and actually it's a guide to the recovery for people with different abilities, such as myself. So good stuff, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight's topic, keeping up with the Joneses. Do you feel pressured when you're looking at your neighbor or your friends or whomever, and they've acquired monetary things, very nice monetary things, and you strive to get those things that they have, right? You're constantly in competition with those people. That's a toxic trait. I'll break it down, but let's bring Ursula in so we can get this going, because actually it's a piggyback off a reel that she did on her TikTok. So I'll let her share that with you guys, and we'll get right to it. Let's bring her in. Ursa.
Hey, how are you?
I can't.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm real good.
Good.
What's going on?
It's been a long day. It's been a long day, but it's okay. I'm still blessed. It's been a long day, but I've had a blessed day.
That's good. That's real good. Real good. What's going on with you, man? Everything good?
Everything is good. I'm blessed and highly favored.
Okay.
I have some things going on with the family that has kind of got me in a little bit of a not so happy place. But it happens, right?
It's life. I get it. I totally get it. Trust me, I get it.
If God gets you to it, how you say, if God gets you to it, he'll get you through it, right?
He'll get you through it. So yeah, absolutely, man. Good stuff. Everything's good.
Is Dee coming to hang out with us?
No, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to get you nervous. Her and the little man, her and Xavier's under the weather.
Oh, okay.
He's back at school and caught a bug real quick and passed it on to his mother. Yeah.
It's fine. I'm sure we'll get by. We'll get
through. Absolutely. So we'll hold it down. We'll definitely hold it down. So Coach D, get well soon. Ursula, I got it.
Please.
Good stuff. So hey, did you see the promo, the opening promo?
I did, and I like it. And one of my girlfriends mentioned, she said, hey, he wrote a book about his stroke. I'm like, yeah, he's an author. He wrote several books.
You always represent. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I wanted to just shoot this out a little bit. But a lot of interesting stuff going on. I can't wait to open up this, to start talking about this topic.
Okay.
Keeping up with the Jones.
Exactly. I got to thinking as I was doing cutting tape on it, for my previous podcast. So I got to thinking, I'm like, that's got to be a struggle, because I'm actually foreign to that. I got to be honest with you. I'm foreign to watching other people striving for greatness. I'm foreign to that because I was always, as you know, I've always been in my lane. I'm not looking over there to see what the neighbors are doing or anything like that. That doesn't concern me. That doesn't concern me. And I truly believe if you're constantly watching your neighbor and watching the things that they
Watch
acquire,
it there now.
not
Watch it.
exactly, it knocks you off of your square.
It
That
does.
means that you can't get to your 100.
So
Go ahead.
the whole reason why you don't want to, and I'm gonna just hop right in.
Do it. Do
I
your
was
thing,
gonna
man.
end with this, but we could start with it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Trailblazing.
That's what I'm
Trailblazing.
talking about.
When you do your own thing and you don't really follow the path of someone else, you kind of
Exactly.
trailblaze. When
That's
you
right.
when you are your equivalent or you're trying to keep up with somebody in your community, you actually lower your ability to go farther.
I like the way this is going. Keep going.
Because you only see what you see over there. Like it's just like school. It's ABC. It's common. It's like, okay, if I look at your paper, I'm only gonna do as good as you, right?
Right.
I could look over there
Right.
at you, or I could, just do my own thing, and
Exactly.
you'll be surprised what doing your own thing creates. It
I give you
creates.
I give you an example, right? I give you one
Mhm,
example as I was thinking about this topic and last week cutting the tape from last. We got some good content in there, by the way. I
mhm.
got some stuff I cut for you that I'm gonna share with you so you can share it to your
Okay.
platform, your
Uh-huh.
TikTok and all that stuff. But I
Okay.
got to thinking about my past, right? And
Uh-huh.
how when I jumped into the music business, I was at a very young age. I was like maybe 17. I
Mhm.
hadn't even turned 18 yet.
Mhm.
My mother purchased me a bus ticket because I recorded an entire album. It was cassettes back then. And I told my mother, I said, I want to go and get a record deal. And we happen to have cousins and stuff out in Los Angeles. And
Uh-huh.
she said, well, you've collected all these cans. Like me and my brother used to collect cans, and we sell them. So I was
Uh-huh.
collecting cans for studio time. And
Uh-huh.
I'm not talking like a regular studio. I'm not talking about somebody's house. I'm talking about
Uh-huh.
a professional recording studio. Festival Studios was my very first professional recording studio. I recorded it, right? Huge
Mhm.
facility. And so after collecting these cans, I made like almost $1,000. And I spent
Yes.
it all on studio time. So my
Mhm.
mother said, you work real hard all summer to record this album. I'm going to pay for you to go and stay in Los Angeles for 2 weeks to look for a record deal.
Wow.
My mother
Wow.
set everything up for me.
I never knew your mama did that. I never knew that.
My mother was a wonderful mother, very supportive. And
Mhm.
so she sent me to Los Angeles. So 2 weeks turned into a year. A year turned into something else. I came back with a record deal.
You came back with a zero.
You see what I'm saying? I came
And
back
that's
with
what
all types of connections. That's how I met Tisha. That's how I met
right.
Tisha Campbell. And
Right.
came back with a record deal. Came back. One of the guys left the group, and I was down one member.
Mhm.
So my brother thought he was like, "Hey, I know a guy that sings." I never met
Mhm.
the guy, but he said you never met him, but you should know it because you went to school with him. But I never met
Mhm.
Michael.
Uh-huh.
So I met Michael, got him in the group, and we took off. Took off, started doing our thing. But I said
Right.
that to say I've always been a trailblazer, no matter the age. That's always been my mindset. I've never
Right.
watched everybody
Other
else
people.
asking
Right.
people, can I get some help with a record deal? No, I'm going to get it myself. I'll
Right.
come back and give you a record deal.
Right. Come, let me show me, point me in a direction. So,
That's it.
and this is the thing. When we say keeping up with the Joneses, it is a such thing as like asking someone to point you in a direction. But I'm gonna do my own
Exactly.
talking.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I don't need you to
Exactly.
talk for me. I'm gonna talk for myself.
Exactly.
Just show me
Introduce me
where.
to the plug. Exactly.
Right.
Introduce me to the
That's it.
plug. Let me do the work.
I got this. Right.
That's it.
And
That's it,
I'm
man.
I'm I'm the person that say introduce me to the plug, and I'm gonna show you how we gonna get this money.
That's it.
you know.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. But I find that when we do that, right, when we consistently watching other people progress, we become
Right.
stagnated. We become very stagnant.
You limit
Very
yourself. That's
stagnant.
your cap. That's your cap.
Exactly.
Your
That's your
cap is
cap.
now that you're trying to keep up with
And
someone else.
you place yourself in quicksand when we do that. When you
Mm-hmm.
do that, when you're watching someone else's progression, not only have you actually reserved your seat in the nosebleed section, you're sitting on the sidelines.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But go ahead.
Absolutely.
This is your topic, so go ahead.
Well, I wanted to just kind of talk about where we get that from. And when I talked about the crabs in a barrel mentality, you
Right.
know, and so just like I have quite a few friends that I like to go to them for advice. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or
Right.
like, hey, what are your thoughts on this? I have a girlfriend who we share recipes. She always watched the podcast. I have a
Right.
girlfriend who we share, who gives me a lot of healthy ideas. You know
What's the
who
name
that
so we can
is.
shout her out? You know,
Oh,
we're streaming in 175 different countries and regions. So let's
so
shout her out all over the
I
world.
have a, I have a friend watching from Lafayette named Portia.
Hey, Portia, how you doing, lady?
Portia. And I have other friends. If they don't watch while we're filming, they actually go back and watch. So
All
um
good.
yeah, so um just in short, we share recipes. But again, I have there's Chantel in Austin. If she don't watch, she'll come back and
That's my
watch.
girl there.
And yeah, yes, she loves you. She always talks good about you.
Good stuff.
And so we always piggyback off of each other with ideas.
Right.
I recently shared with Chantel a little quick story. I recently shared with her how we
Mhm.
always talk about how we both ended up. I don't know if I want to say married or divorced. So it was the late 90s and we
Okay.
was dating. And
Hmm.
one got married, and you know what that meant. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it
Right.
just
Right.
wasn't even
Right.
for us, it was what our parents too. So,
Right.
it kind of became a thing of, well, what you think she gonna do? And so it came a
Uh-huh.
thing of when I did started dating my son's dad, it
Right.
became a thing of girlfriends like kind of saying, where you think this is going? And I'm like, I don't know. And so people in the family were saying, you so picky, you're gonna pick crap because you're too picky, this is a nice guy. And so I guess all arrows point to, I need to get married. And so you forego the things that you want to do because of the people around you. Sometimes, we keep each other so limited, and that ain't even with the crabs in the barrel. That's just like, even talking to like sometimes your closest family members, like,
Right.
um them only seeing what I can't show you what I can't see for myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I only see this for me. So I can't show you the great big world. Um when we did get married in the late 90s, we both
Uh-huh.
eventually ended up divorced. And it
Okay.
was because, I think at that point we could only see with out of each other's eyes. Now, I'll
Absolutely.
never
Yeah.
forget the time when Chantel came and said, hey, listen, I'm moving and I'm getting a divorce. I was like, now, mind you, you would have thought, look, Keith Daddy told me that. Because I was like, we had an Easter egg hunt.
Right.
This your
Right.
kid
Right.
too. This your godchild. You leaving us?
Right.
And so, man, she needed to go. She has done very well for herself by leaving.
Uh-huh.
It has really taught me to see and reflect on a community in which support you, and support us in the community that we live in. You cannot ever look at somebody else's blueprint and think that's your blueprint. Yes, you can read over how somebody maybe built the house or whatever, but of course,
Right.
don't do your own thing. You know what I'm saying? Because where they garage at may not be where you want your garage. Or how somebody else get married may not be your time to get married. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Somebody else buys a BMW. Your finances might can't afford that. You know what I'm saying? You have
But here's
to.
the thing.
Mhm,
Here's the thing. This is what I think, right? When you find people like that, right?
mhm,
Just to piggyback off of what you just said,
mhm.
especially family members, right?
Yeah,
When you do something extraordinary,
yeah,
everyone around you knows it's extraordinary, but
yeah. Uh-huh.
when they tell you you can't, or when they tell you, why you doing that, that's because
Uh-huh.
their insecurities and their limitations are
Mhm.
very illuminating in their head.
Mhm.
So they can't see that for themselves.
Right.
You can't see it for themselves. So that's why they're projecting it onto you, right? And this is where we get stuck at with this whole, living for the Joneses, keeping up with the Joneses type situation, because you got to know your limitations on certain things. It's imperative that you know your limitations. Because I'm not about to say I could dunk a basketball knowing damn well I can't dunk a basketball. I'm watching LeBron. I can do that. No, I can't. I'm very realistic. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So you have to carve out and pave your own path.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't know your road, make your road. Pave your
That
own
reminds
highway.
me of when I first came on this health journey
Mhm.
during COVID and how it all started. I think I gave you the backstory a little bit. So I'm not going to do the backstory here because it's not everybody's information. It's not for
Gotcha.
public. But when I first started doing COVID, I mean, during working out, I had worked out with my girlfriend years before I started working out during COVID. And
Right.
I saw what she did. And I was saying to myself, girl, you got to be out your rabbit ass mind. You think I'm going to do all of that.
Right.
But
Right.
let
Right.
me tell you, my girlfriend, she is very form and shapely, but she's been doing this since she was 5 or 6 years old, right? If not younger. So here's the thing about that. You don't really always understand other people's journey. You don't need to hop into the end. All I could think about during working out is maybe the first year and a half, if I could just get the body she got, right?
Right.
I even contemplated like maybe I'll have a
Wrong thing
surgery.
to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is the things that I thought. Maybe I have a surgery after I lose so much, get my body toned or down to certain. And this is what she said every time we work out. She would always say, do this exercise for this, do this for that, and you can't outwork a bad diet. That's all she said. You can't
Right.
outwork a bad diet. And she just would constantly tell me little things. And you know what? It helped me, Trent, to grow to my greatness. And I'm so grateful for that. You know what I'm saying? And it
Right.
ain't even like get into your own greatness. You gotta in life, we have to make it a habit to not follow behind others. Yes, you can ask, you gotta go to a doctor
Exactly.
sometime and ask for advice. Yes, it's okay to call a parent or call a good friend up and ask them to point you in a direction. But at the end of the day, once you get pointed, it is for you to trailblaze
Exactly.
and start your own journey, your
I'm glad
journey.
you said that. I'm glad you said that. I'll give you another example, right?
Uh-huh.
So when this happened to me,
Uh-huh.
bleed on the brain, boom, paralyzed on left
Mm-hmm.
side.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment I came to and started, trying to get my, legs back up under me, you know what I'm saying? So I'm at the rehabilitation center.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately when I was able to pull up in the bed,
Mm-hmm.
I took the unorthodox route to recovery.
Uh-huh.
Everybody and their mother was
Mm-hmm.
asking me, why are you starting a foundation and you're paralyzed?
Yes. Right.
You're paralyzed. I said, because of the mindset.
That's
I
right.
said, there is no one, I've never met a person in my condition with
Right.
my mindset.
Right.
So
Right.
it was like, why are you doing that? You think you could do that? But here's the
I,
worst thing you could do with me, right?
right.
Tell me something that I cannot do, and I show you 10 different ways to do it.
I can do it. That's right.
I show you 10 different ways to do it. So
That's
not
right.
only did I start a foundation, I finished off the recovery book to help people in this situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. So I didn't want to take the regular path of sitting in the wheelchair, staying in the wheelchair. That wasn't me. I
Right.
had no interest in that wheelchair that was prescribed to me. I had no interest in that walker, cane, none of that stuff. I had no interest in that bedridden state.
Right.
I saw the outcome.
That's
I had
it.
no interest in that stuff.
And you saw your outcome.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
So I
saw
was
your
going to
outcome.
take the common route. There's
Right.
nothing about me that's common. I wasn't
Right.
going to take the common route. Oh, well, let's just sit here and collect this disability check. Nah, that's not me.
Right. And that is the common route. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That
that's
is
not me.
honestly the common route. So many people kind of like get caught up in other people matrix.
Exactly. Ooh, that's a deep one. That's a deep one.
Like,
That's a
why
deep
are
one.
you
You're
over there?
absolutely right.
Why
You're
are you at your
absolutely right.
neighbor's house? You know what I'm saying?
Hold on
And
one
that's
second
why, yeah,
before we get in
I was gonna
trouble.
say, let's get to the comments. You want me to read them?
We got folks in. Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
Yeah. So your brother Al says, "Good evening, everybody. Good evening, panel."
Sal, what up?
Yes.
I see
And then
Slash up in here.
Grand Rising Melanated people, greetings, Earth and Mr. Epic. Get well soon, Princess D and Lil X. I like
Good
that.
stuff. Good stuff. I like that. I love that.
I like that. I
Good
like
stuff.
that.
Good
And
stuff.
Big Al said, "What's up, Mark?" He's talking to Mark DJ.
Yeah. I got
And
it.
Mark says, "The face, keeping up with the Jones." I'm so happy he did the little where this came from. Comes from a comic strip it ran during the 1930s and 40s. The New York World and others and the McGinnis family tried to keep up with their wealthy neighbors, the Joneses.
Slash always coming through with the knowledge.
Yeah,
Slash
him
always
indeed. I
coming
was
through.
like, D's not here. I knew D would have researched where did this term come
You
from.
already know. Yeah, you know
Like,
something has to be
Wikipedia
definitely
info.
wrong. You know she has to be definitely under the weather. She called me at the last minute. She was like, "Can you and Earth hold it down?" I said, "Yeah." I mean, she's still trying to come. I said, "Nah, man, go on, take care of yourself. We got it."
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's all good.
The
All
thing
good.
about
All
it
good.
is, competition is so lame, man. I mean, unless you're in the Olympics and you're getting this amazing trophy for it, from some foreigners that just
Exactly.
recognize your amazing talent, and you're going to be in the Guinness, as he would the
Exactly.
McGinnis family. If you're not going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records, trailblaze.
Exactly.
I want to talk about a moment I had last night.
Go ahead.
So I have a little thing that I do on a weekend. And that thing keeps me I meet all type of people.
Right.
But I wasn't doing that thing. I was really simply last night just trying to catch up with my parents and at a 90th birthday party for their neighbor.
Right.
And just a little backstory. Years ago, the neighbor had a daughter who trailblazed for women in the 90s in news, right? She was in Dallas, quite like how you were in LA. She was in Dallas and she was doing the news, and I'm gonna shout her out. Her name is Chrisanne Furlan. I had an opportunity to talk with her last night. She wrote a book about letters to my daughter. In her book, she just does amazing. She does amazing work. I don't want to go all off and tell her information before she really be able to get it out there. But I had a chance to really connect with her and just talk about when you recognize sometime that you're a little different than the stuff that you have going on around you, and so often, even when we're young kids or young teenagers or young adults, and like how your mom saw something in you, it's so amazing that you talked about that, because parents are the first people who recognize the talent. And some people will be like, I recognize it, but they want to sweep it under the rug. It's so amazing that your mom said, I'm going to send you to LA for 2 weeks. After them 2 weeks, you're on your own,
I take it from there.
So amazing. And our neighbor, she was like 20, early 20s when she left home. Now, mind you, that's around the same time me and my friends were getting married. Of course, it was years later because she's a little older than I am. But I always admired how, as a teenager and a young adult, her mom talked about her being in Dallas and doing the news. And so she definitely was trailblazing, because of course women was on TV at that time, but it wasn't, African-American ladies was on TV, but it wasn't like you see every other channel today. Every channel today has a African-American woman doing the news. And this is where you first recognize where you are. But if she didn't have nobody to forge that path for her and her family. Nobody forged that path for her.
Exactly. Here's the thing. I talked about a support system in the recovery book, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have a support system, no matter if it's a recovery or just getting started, right? Think about
Mm-hmm.
that. If my mother didn't instill that confidence in me,
Right.
apparently she saw something in me to
Yeah.
invest in me to get to LA.
Yes.
Apparently she saw something in me. So my mother
Your mom did. Your
injecting that
mom did.
confidence in me took me into a stratosphere.
Your
A
mom invested
stratosphere.
in it too. She invested in it.
Yeah,
She invested
yeah,
because, like she said, here's some money. Go out there, make something of yourself.
yeah.
And so, honestly, the truth, I used to always pack a bag like when I was in between 18 and 21. And
Right.
I always often thought about like if I could just catch a train that's paused on a track and just sit on a train and see if the train,
Just
if I can
roll with
end
it,
up
man.
like
Just
end up I
roll
was
with it.
used to be young and I always was running away from home. And it's a running joke in my family right now because they'll always say something like, remember when you used to always pack a bag and say you're running away from home? There were times, Trent, when I know I look like some of my family members, and
Right.
listen, by all means, shouldn't even have to announce this, but it has nothing to do with being heterosexual. I just felt like sometimes I could not identify with some of the things going on
Right.
around me and in my family. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean it in a way like sometimes I just really struggle, like just to fit in. I have so many things that I could talk about. All of them, I'm not going to expose myself, but
Yeah, but
mhm. But
the thing of I've always cringed when people say fit in.
right, that
No, here's
yes,
the thing though. Here's the
yes.
thing,
Go
right?
ahead.
Why do people try to fit in?
Feel like they
When
have to fit
what
in.
is it to fit into someone else's picture when you own the frame? You own
That's
the
right.
frame. Why would you try and fit in? That's your frame.
Yep.
You know what
And
I'm saying? But I'll give you another example. I'll give you another
uh-huh.
example as the stuff coming to me as you're talking.
Mm-hmm.
These memories are coming to me. So
Mm-hmm.
right after my father passed,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's well documented what happened. He died of my
Mm-hmm.
arms. You guys want to check it out? Check out the Four
Right.
Horsemen book, shameless plug. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, anywhere books are sold, you get that book. The Four Horsemen book,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, but before
Mm-hmm.
I became an author, I was working for a company called Halliburton. So I
Mm-hmm.
was actually visiting home when my father passed. I
Mm-hmm.
was in transition, getting ready to go move to Oklahoma. So my father passed. I'm in limbo. And as I'm going back, I'm preparing to go back home to Houston
Mm-hmm.
to go to Oklahoma. I was with Greg.
Mm-hmm.
And Greg said, "What you going to do?" I said, "I don't think I want that job no more." And we're driving, as we
Mm-hmm.
always used to do. We're driving. He's driving. I said, I don't want that job anymore. I said,
Mm-hmm.
I need to get past what I just experienced. My father
Right.
died in my arms.
I
And he said,
remember that's the
you
first
remember
thing
that?
yes.
Mhm.
Yes, this is totally nothing to do with the topic, but this
Hold
is
on.
all
I want to finish this thought real quick. Hold that
yes.
thought.
Okay, go ahead.
So, so as Greg's driving, he said, "So
Uh-huh.
what you gonna do?" I said, "I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna pull my 401k down." He
Mm-hmm.
said, "Why would you do that?" I said, "I'm gonna start a publishing company."
Mm-hmm.
You see that publishing company?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I've owned
Mm-hmm.
that publishing company for over a decade and a half, maybe
Wow.
more, maybe
Mm-hmm.
more. But
Mm-hmm.
when Greg said that, he said, "What you gonna do?" I said, "I'm gonna pull my 401k down from Halliburton and I'm gonna start a publishing company. I'm gonna write this book." Guess
Mm-hmm.
what Greg told me?
Hmm.
You write it, I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah.
That's another one, injecting that confidence into his little
Yes.
brother.
Yes. But he always knew. You know what I'm saying? He always knew, you know,
Exactly.
that you were
So always
talented.
call out your path, folks. Don't look at your neighbor worrying about their accolades or what they've accomplished. That's their
Know
accomplishment.
yourself. You're right. Not to interrupt you, but know yourself. Know your, because nobody, like it's almost like being able to go. Like I'm a connect this to being physically fit.
Go
Like
ahead.
I could just somebody could go in the gym and say, like, oh, I could lift 150, I could lift 150 pounds or whatever. But I might
Right.
can't lift that. You know what I'm saying? So you have to know what you can do. somebody who looks at somebody lifting 150 and say, well, that's probably all anybody else can do is, or anybody could ever do is 150, and they'll never know. No, actually, the same
Exactly.
person who's saying that could probably lift 200. You know what I'm saying? Just,
Exactly.
you never know if you don't challenge yourself. You never know. It's okay that somebody kind of points you like, hey, look what's that. They're selling BMWs over there on Veterans Highway. You can go test drive one.
Yeah, but don't
all
clone.
day.
Don't clone the person.
Right.
I mean,
But you never exactly. And it is so crazy that that's sometimes what we do. And then we wonder why we end up broken inside. We ain't even going to talk about
exactly.
the material and the fiscal inefficiencies and inadequacies. Let's just think
Exactly.
about when you end up doing things that your friends may do, thinking because this would work for you, and then you're broken because this
Exactly.
wasn't your time. You saw
No.
signs, you ignored them. You saw warnings. I ex-wife today because I saw signs and I ignored them. Because I had more people supporting the good stuff. Nobody even helped me to pay attention to things that I saw. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I saw things and I was like, I didn't even know I saw stuff, So I just was
Exactly.
like,
But
yeah,
when
this is
we when we focus on, and I just got to say this because I've been doing this all my life. When you
right.
focus on or looking for support, you lose steam.
Right.
You lose steam when you focus on looking for support. Why nobody support me? I wouldn't give a damn.
Right.
I wouldn't
Right.
care. That's just
Right.
like the stuff that I do continuously. I've been doing this stuff continuously for the past 20 years. And I had a conversation with Michael. I'm bringing him up because he's watching, right?
Yeah.
So
Hey, Mike. Hey, I love you, Mike.
he has a tendency to talk trash, right?
Uh-huh.
On the post. And
As
a
he
lot of
should.
people a lot of people always ask me, why you let him talk like that? I say for two reasons.
Uh-huh.
What's the two reasons? I said, well,
Uh-huh.
he's my best friend, one, and the
Uh-huh.
other one, every comment pays me. So I let him go
Right.
about his business and just comment like, as long as the thread going, the more money gets transferred from
Come in.
Facebook.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right. Right.
saying?
Right.
So when I told him that
Uh-huh.
one day, I picked up the phone, I called him, I said, Mike, I said, I didn't want you to finish. He said, what you mean? You want me to finish? I said, nah, because every time you comment, I get paid. He just bust out laughing. But nah, but I said that to say, man, when we are on a path, when we're doing things, especially in today's climate, with this social thing that we got going on here, everybody see everybody now. You know what I'm
Oh my
saying?
God.
Everyone see everyone now, right? But if you're constantly
Yeah.
worried about a like, a love, a comment, or whatever, you're gonna lose your focus. Think about
Well,
it. If I worried about people and them, well, commenting or supporting, I wouldn't be broadcasting 175 different countries.
I mean, think about if you had just limited yourself on just your community, you wouldn't be broadcasting. I mean, if
Exactly.
you just was looking at the neighbors next door to you, nobody is doing what you're doing. Nobody is doing what you're doing. They
I'm
have
glad you
ideas.
said that. I don't want to throw darts at me.
What's that?
I'm glad you said it because I don't want to throw darts at me. If
Oh
I
yeah,
said it, then
yeah,
you
yeah.
throwing
Nobody's
darts
doing
at
what
me.
you're doing. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I think I remember like going back to when we first met at Dawn's house. I knew, like I knew I always said to myself, he's an amazing character. And I would be
Right.
like, it's somebody I just would like to always know. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because here's the
I
thing,
appreciate that.
sometimes when people find themselves in situations that there's no coming back from, when you cross
Exactly.
lines or whatever in intimacy,
Right.
it's hard to keep to garner a friendship,
That's true. You're right. That's true.
because that disfigures, cross intimacy disfigures so much stuff, but that's a
Right.
topic for another time. I
Right.
always knew I wanted to keep keep garnered a friendship with you because I knew you were an amazing person.
I
And that's
appreciate that.
not to blow you up, but you
I
have to
appreciate that.
know, Trent, when you're a trailblazer, you have two daughters and they're amazing young women, and you have to think about the path that you laid before. What are you leaving for your daughters to be able to recognize their daddy and who he was,
Exactly. A
I
ton of
mean, you don't
royalty
have to
tax.
be, yes. And guess what? The beauty in it is, no, you don't have to be one of these big media places that's,
Really
on
gonna happen.
a big platform. You just have to have the need to know you want to connect with people in a positive way, and
That's it.
put good content out there for your children,
Here's the
to
beautiful thing about not to cut you off. Here's
mm-hmm,
the beautiful thing about independence, right?
mm-hmm,
Taylor Kennedy is black owned. Taylor
right,
Kennedy is owned by my daughters.
right,
I truly work for them.
right. We all do. Believe it or not,
Exactly.
honestly, this is the kind of conversations that we have. We all work for our kids, because here's the
Yeah,
thing. At the end of the day, if whatever you worship, because I do have a friend, Mr. Rahid, that watch. He don't believe like a lot of people do, but you know, whatever you believe, you are the trailblazer for your family, and
absolutely.
whatever you do, whatever your whatever kind of work you when you do work, whatever work you're doing it so that when your children, you leave your this is your kids, and you're leaving something for them to remember you by. Memories,
About
people have
legacy, man.
ashes
It's about
memories.
legacy building.
Yeah, your legacy. That's right. Ashes are memories, but what did these ashes contain? What spirit was housed within these ashes, or within this corpse? Who lived
Exactly.
here? What type of person lived here? And your kids can definitely say, our daddy, started a media company. He had an opportunity to meet these people. He been in these great places. I mean, that's the thing. Our
Exactly.
legacy is what we leave for our children.
It's
So I
always
know
good,
sometimes,
man. It's always
yeah.
good to leave remnants of a positive thing for your kids.
Yes, yes. And so that's the
Leave
thing. You
remnants
have
of
to,
yourself, but make sure it's positive.
yeah. So in dialing it back into, keeping up with the Jones, you need to make sure you're trailblazing for your offspring. That's just it. Trailblaze for them.
Absolutely.
Don't trailblaze because you're trying to show the neighbor next door. Again, going back to when in the 90s, when in the late 90s, when we were getting married, I call it
Right.
having time weddings. You know, our parents had a point to prove to each other who could have the
Right.
fattest limousine on the street. you know
Yeah.
I hate to
Right.
say it, but we came from a very, I'm gonna say our street was prestigious, Mark. Southern Court. And so it's one of the, I would say, one of the nicer streets in Kennedy
You think
Heights.
so? You think so?
I think so. Check it out, Southern
Okay.
Court. Um
You
and
know,
I
I'm gonna tell you something that's very surprising.
huh
I've never been to Southern Court. Never.
Oh, you should definitely check it out. So, our street had triplets. They had twins. We had some of
Yeah.
everything on our street.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you
Yeah.
think about going to like the mid '80s when children played outside, right?
Uh-huh.
You ever remember that, like in the mid '80s when we
I
was
remember.
kids growing up? Like think about 1985, right? Um, this is before MTV, so I'm going back a little bit here. You know, you saw you saw how money looked. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
people always come back and tell me about like the house I grew up in or whatever, and I'm like, they're like, your daddy, we had a rather big house, right? And so, but the funny story is, I want to say so bad about how I still felt out of place
That's
at that
funny.
house, because
But
but anyhow,
let's
those
talk about
people.
let's talk about the origin
Mhm.
of the Joneses, right? I saw Slash and this stuff,
Yes,
but
I see him say something else. That yes. So, but going wanting to piggyback off of that, that's how we all grew up. Like, in while we got married, everybody was kind of comparing the
right.
cars, the house, and that's So yes, it's a real thing, and people definitely do it. And honestly, you
But
need not.
I truly believe, and I probably get a little flack for this. I truly believe the origin of the whole keeping up with the Joneses,
Mm-hmm.
was the Negro in the main house, and the way they were very decisive. Division. Separating us mentally. So look at me, I'm in the big house. I'm in the big house.
Well,
That's what.
I will say this,
I'm
not to
just saying. I'm
interrupt,
just saying. I'm
not to
just
interrupt
saying.
you, because this is your platform, so I don't ever want to step on your toes.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go say what you got to say. Go ahead.
I'll say it could be a little truth to that, but I would like to go on record saying that I'm sure there were people at times who was in a big house who didn't want to be there, but didn't have a choice.
I agree. I agree with that. I'm talking about the decisiveness from the Europeans. I'm not talking about the blacks. I'm talking about what they did, how they separate them, how they place them in different levels on the
Right.
plantation. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, think about it though. Where else would that envious type? Because that's an envious spirit when I'm watching my neighbor. If I see Katina getting a new car and I want that car like
Mhm.
Katina, that's envious of me. That's envy. In my opinion, that's envy. That's not aspirations because that's Katina's. That's her stuff. That's not mine.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
A little
to
bit.
me, to me
A little
watching
bit.
the Joneses, is an envious state because that's as attached to monetary things. Because when we talk about keeping up with the Joneses, we're talking about monetary items. We're talking about the things that other people acquire.
Now,
It's a
I
little
think
disturbing. It's okay.
no, no, no. I think what you're doing, I like where you're coming from. Look, here I go. I'm gonna say, I like what you're saying. I like what you're saying. I think you're
Okay.
unpacking it. You're unpacking where it could possibly have come from a little bit. I like what you're saying. I'm with you.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I would like to think it came maybe a little bit after that, when it
You think
ended.
so? Okay.
Yeah, when it ended, when
Do
slavery ended.
tell. Now this is a good answer. Do tell, because I'm listening.
I think it came after that, because then you saw black Negroes free off the plantation, and like some of them was doing stuff. They was doing shit, right? And
That's the
so
one that had a spine.
yeah, no, and they like go to the let me put you in your mind the movie Django. Think about that.
I got you.
All right.
I see where you're
You
going. I see where you're going. I
okay?
get you. Yeah,
I told you, stay with me. Stay with me. Think about that.
I got
And
you.
so they're like, now, mind you, the people in the South, they wasn't free, and they
Right.
see, you know what I'm saying? Somebody rolling up, man in charge, pointing and directing. You know what I'm saying? And so, people like, I want to be like him.
But it's still attached to the European. But I'm gonna leave it there.
Oh yeah, I never said it wasn't. I never
Okay.
said that. I
I
ain't
got you.
challenging that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not challenging that.
That's good stuff. Good stuff.
Um,
Good stuff.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
here's a funny thing, man. When I was thinking about this topic as I was writing it up,
Uh-huh.
I was like, that was really a deep reel because actually, this is your topic. I just happened to mention keeping up with the Joneses, but it was really off of what you said. I was only responding to what you said. That was from
Oh
your
yeah.
topic. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
good
I,
stuff.
I
Real good
had one I
stuff.
wanted to do today, but the one I needed to do today, and I'm gonna do it before the week is out. I might do it before the night is out. Is
I'm bringing this up being petty with you because I really want you to, because I think you have beautiful thoughts and thought
yeah.
provoking things to say, and people need to hear it. So
Oh
every
yeah.
chance I
Yeah.
get, I'm gonna say it to you and push you in that direction.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing that too, Trent. I really do. Because, I recognize that in some ways, I'm going to be funny and say I could trailblaze some stuff. I recognize that take chances
It's
and
all
take
good.
risks that other people don't take. I was
Right,
the
right.
first one in my family to take a risk and probably like say, I ain't staying in this marriage. It ain't for me, and I'm not about to hop into another one because I don't think that it's for me. You know what I'm saying? If somebody come along and it's for me, then it's for me. But if it ain't, it's not. Now,
Okay.
but that's marriage, but that's could be so many other things. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
You
right, right.
definitely need to add it to bills, to cars,
Right.
monetary. You do need to think about monetarily. You should think about it monetarily
But
all the time.
when we
Again,
focus,
it
and
doesn't mean
I want to keep it on the positive sides of what we do to stay away from keeping up with the Joneses. When we consistently focus on what we're doing, when we consistently focus on our
do,
path.
in my opinion, and I'm gonna say this, do when you see people saying or doing or going or being, they going to Puerto Rico or whatever. I want to go to Puerto Rico. Do your own research. Figure out the place that you might travel to. You might not be interested in what the Latina community is offering. You really might get afford to take a trip to Africa and see what the African Americans are, the path that they have forged there. Take the necessary steps to forge your own path.
That's it.
Forge your own path. Connect with your own gut God.
I truly
Connect
believe
with your own God, gut, whatever that is. Connect with what's internal inside of you.
I truly believe everyone is touched with greatness.
That's
They
right.
just have to
I
tap
believe that
into
too.
it.
I believe that
You
too.
just have to
I
tap
believe that.
into it.
You have to
It
tap
goes,
into it.
it calls for going to a different realm in life
It
to
does.
tap
It
into
does.
greatness.
It does. It
I gotta
calls
keep it
for
100.
you. It calls for you to really focus in on your own self. When I posted that reel, I had just finished playing tennis with my brother that last Sunday. And I talked about how we had so many things in common. Shit, we have the same parents.
Serena. Okay, Serena.
Yeah. We have the same parents,
Yeah.
But in those commonalities, you start to think about or process the things that you have different. And sometimes, my brother, I'll be honest and say my brother goes home to his home. He has a home. I don't, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sometimes you can look at those things and you can be like in your own self, I need to be doing different. I need to look like that. I need to have more. No, you need to stay on your own journey. You really need to do that. When me and my younger brother sit down and talk, I talk about places that I have gone. I was telling them which is so small. I was telling them about something in New York that I had witnessed that's in my mom and daddy's house. That's also in Louis Armstrong's house. And it's something that they have in their house that we always say, why do you still have this in here? But honestly, it's almost like a monument. It's a piece of furniture they have is almost like a graven, like it's it's a piece of art,
Get it smart. I got you. I get it.
Yeah, it's art. And so, because it's in a museum in New York. My parents have a piece of furniture that is in a museum in New York. That's what I'm gonna say. Right? Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. And so in that is where I'm saying to you about the differences. I travel sometime. I go places. I go and play. I don't just go to different cities. I go into communities and neighborhoods. And I'm on my own wave, I go, sometimes I travel with a group, but I leave the group and be off by myself, And so because I'm forging my own path.
And you know what I call that though? I call that you have an eclectic mindset.
Yes.
You have a very eclectic mindset. So I get it.
I do. Get it. And even like sometimes me and my son, I sit down and we'll talk and we start running it back and forward and we share things with each other. And then he said, you're different. You're different. And
different is good.
Yeah, yes. Trent, sometimes when people say different, you think that you got a disease.
Not me, gonna be honest with you. I gotta say this. I think I'm the hottest thing since sliced bread. What a different ability.
I think that's because your mom gave you 2 weeks of pay to go to LA. In LA in the 90s. Probably LA today.
Actually, it was actually LA in 87. I think it was 87, 88, something like that.
Right. Yeah. So that's like actually your mama sent you to another planet.
She really did.
Because there was nothing going on here that was going on there. And
I'm always telling my peers, like when they tell me stuff that they're doing, I was like, oh, that's nice. And I'm always accused of being nonchalant when they tell me trips they've taken and
Right.
abroad, all
Of
this other stuff.
course.
I say it's not.
Right.
I say I'm not being nonchalant, but I jumped off the porch very early in life.
Right.
So a lot of things that you've done now, you're doing now at 50. I did that at 20. And I'm
Right.
not bragging, but my mother and father just gave me access to some things that I couldn't achieve on my own.
Right.
I've always had supportive family, man. I'm not gonna say family, I'm gonna say parents.
Right.
I've
Trey, I
always
got a
been
question.
supported.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Don't take this the wrong way.
Go ahead.
Was you at the P. Diddy party?
No, you know better than that. Actually, I got a story on that one, right?
I know you do.
Now, Puff, actually, Puff invited Mike up to his hotel to audition, and Michael's already with a record deal. So Puff was kind of on that other stuff way back in the game. So, but Michael declined. He didn't go. He didn't go up into
He
a suite. He
That's
was
what
having
I'm
a party in the
saying.
suite. Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, actually, that's who introduced me to Puff. Mike introduced me to Puff.
Michael White?
Michael, yeah, Michael.
Look from off of backdrop.
Yeah,
in the background Rotunda?
That's what introduced me to Puff. Yeah.
No way.
That's how I got the remix done. Puff introduced me to Press Market D. You guys know him as Mark Morales. And we went to New York and did the remix. But Puff set that up for us. So what I did was he introduced me to Puff because at that time Puff was a hot producer. And
I remember people talking about Sean Combs. That's what
his money was, his production was a little too much for me, for my blood. I think he was charging like 35 and we only had a budget of 16,000 to do a remix. So Michael's like, I still got Puff number. It's like, okay, cool. So I called him up. That's who introduced me to Puff. Mike.
You tell Michael White to call me. I need to get some information from I need to interview him and see exactly how that was.
So Mike, see, I gave you your props. He always telling people I'm the one that introduced Trent to Puff. He introduced Puff. He introduced us, yeah. But when I knew him, he wasn't doing none of that crazy stuff.
Making him out to be.
When I knew him, he wasn't doing all that crazy stuff. Because remember, Puff didn't have that. He didn't have a deal at that time. He had a production deal.
Okay,
he had a production deal, so he didn't get the money from Clive until later on.
Oh,
like 94, 95, something like that. Yeah. So
Clive Davis talk too much, but anyway, this is about this podcast is about.
Yeah, let's get off of me.
We're talking about Clive. Because when you talk about Clive, I start saying, now Clive talk too many people business. If he told too much about Whitney Houston, let's get to the comments.
Yeah, let's get to the comments because yeah.
Yeah, let's get to the comments.
Go ahead.
My eyes are a little swole. Mark said, we so late on this comment. He posted at 7:23.
Flash, I'm so sorry, brother.
I know, I'm sorry. Mark, we know you here though. We know you here, Mark. And we love you, Mark.
Let's get his comments. Let's get his comments. Let's catch up in Gumbo Talk after that. Go ahead. Where we going now? Where you want to go with it?
The phase of what's this? An idiom. The phase of an idiom that refers to the pressure to compete with others. The Oxford English Dictionary says the phase keep up with in the sense of proceed at an equal pace, which dates back to 1633.
Absolutely.
So that was 1633.
Slash says also.
And he said Proverbs 3:31 through 32. King James Version says, do not envy the oppressor and choose none of his ways. For the preserved person is an abomination to the Lord, but his secret counsel is with the upright.
And I totally have a different perspective on the King James Version of the Bible, but I'll say that for another podcast. I totally have a different perception of the King James Version of the Bible.
I didn't know that Mark had a Bible.
Stop. First of all, Mark, he spent some knowledge. Stop.
I know. Mark,
Do
please
you
don't take
do
that
you
the wrong
know
way.
do you know Mark is so eclectic.
He is
Mark
eclectic.
visited Africa. You know he
You
visited
know,
Africa, right?
the amazing thing about, I always go back to my interaction with Mark back in the 90s. Me and Mark played tennis together a couple of times.
Mark
And
is
it's
always in
so,
a trailblazer.
he's a
Always.
trailblazer.
Yeah.
And you know how you connect with somebody, similar to how we connected, and you first think it's the attraction. Like,
Yeah.
you think it's, you go to the low nature and you think, oh,
Yeah.
I think it's an attraction thing.
Is that
But you
aura of that
honestly
person. Yeah.
see,
I
if
get
you
it.
don't, if you don't connect with them that way, you honestly connect with them the cosmic way you're supposed to.
Exactly, exactly. I
That
tell you
makes sense
something
what I
funny a
just
lot of
said?
folks don't realize. I tell you,
No, I need you to understand what I just said, because I just dropped some
I
jewels.
totally got it. I totally got it. I get
If
it.
you do not connect with somebody in a low nature, intimate way, because intimate sounds like it's high class, but cosmic is beyond high,
A lot of people, you're
beyond
talking
any.
over people's head. Now, I get it. I get what you're saying, though. I get it. I
Okay, I don't
totally
think
get
I
it.
am. I don't think I am, because if people look up, Mark, make people look up the word cosmic.
Knock it off, Kobe. Stop.
You know, because cosmic is beyond. This
Get
it
it.
could be deep anyway. But anyway, hold on.
Definitely get it.
Go ahead.
But
What you gonna say?
I've been knowing Slash for so long. We've been doing business. A lot of people don't even realize that Slash and I've been doing business since I was a teenager. Since we were
I can believe
teenagers.
that. I can believe
Like
that.
I'm talking about like we were doing business, like
Oh, I
recording
know.
big
I,
records.
I know. I know. Look, I'm about to say, did Mark produce any of them videos back there that was shot in Kennedy Heights? Because I know he was in them. We
Mark,
have
Mark,
videos.
Mark,
We had a whole, like, the West Bank got some. Listen, before there was some cash money stuff. For all jokes aside, there
yeah.
was a Tim Smoot. There was an MC Thick. The West Bank was kicking the
But here's the
ass.
thing, though, what a lot of people don't realize about the West Bank, and we'll gumbo talk the rest of the way here. What a lot of people don't realize about the West Bank, we
Yeah,
were trailblazers on the West Bank.
yeah,
Trailblazers. A lot of people on the East Bank, they was okay. Like I knew this dude. I knew him as
yeah.
Percy. Percy wasn't really
Mhm.
getting it like that. He wasn't really getting it like that.
Hmm.
And I didn't even know that. I didn't even know Cash Money even existed. We were actually popping on the West
Look,
Bank. Let's keep it
I'm
100.
gonna tell you, when MC Thick starts, I don't know. No, I'm gonna say no. It wasn't until the early 2000s, the late 90s, early 2000s, maybe after
That's
New Jack
late though.
City dropped.
That's late though. That's real late. So
Yeah,
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 we
yeah,
talking about like the mid '80s, going into the '90s. So yeah,
yeah. Like, you talking
yeah.
about when you came home from LA and everybody that
Well, it ain't
was
no
in your
game.
life
Ain't no.
at,
It ain't no
at
game.
Flirts. Is it Flirts?
It was Elflers.
And,
Yeah.
and and my ex told me, he said, you ever been to Flirts? And I just said, show me where it was at, because it closed down and I
Wait.
couldn't
So
go
you never.
nowhere.
So you. I keep forgetting that you're younger. I keep
I'm
forgetting that you're
not.
younger.
How old are you tonight?
I'm 25 tonight, but I'm 54 really. So.
Okay, you only 2 years older than me. That is
But
not
remember, no,
a stretch
remember,
of a decade.
I came off the
Right,
porch a little earlier, so yeah,
right,
that's all
right.
good. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Tell the folks, man, we got about a minute to gumbo talk. Actually, we
Wow,
could
we
talk
got
as long as
10
we
minutes
want.
to say. Yeah.
Yeah, we can talk as long as we
Let,
want. But go ahead.
let's talk about your book and what you have going on with that in the book
The
signing.
recovery book, man. The recovery book. I'm glad you
Yes.
said that. I'll play the commercial one more time so you guys could see that.
Yeah, play the
It's gonna be
commercial.
available at Barnes and Noble. It's gonna Amazon, wherever books are sold, over in France, Germany, all those places. I'm doing a book signing at Barnes and Noble, still working out the details on the date and the time for that book signing. But I want to see you guys there because I've never done a book signing here in my own city. I've done book signings everywhere else, from Jamaica to the Bahamas to Chicago to Houston, Dallas, where else? The Carolinas, all these places. I've never done a book signing here. I've spoken here in Louisiana. I've spoken at events here in Louisiana, but I've
Right.
never done a book signing here in New Orleans, which is sad. which is real sad. Now,
Wow. So this will be
I
your
read that
first book
from-
signing here.
I'm sorry.
This will be your first book signing here.
It'll be my very book signing. This will be my very first book signing here, and I've actually authored 10 books. So, and I'm not saying anything a slight to New Orleans, but we got to do better when we support our own. I shouldn't have to go abroad. I shouldn't have to go to France and have a fan base in France, and I live here in New Orleans on the West Bank.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have to go to Jamaica annually and the Bahamas annually because I have a fan base in those places. I shouldn't have to go to Chicago where I have a nice fan base over there as well.
I find that is like a common thing though. I feel like in order sometimes to really get yourself out there, because don't forget, we live down south. And so I think I've always felt like this, you know, even as a young teenager, like the reason why your mama saved up them $200, Trent, for you to go to LA is because she know who her son was. He could never really get to that here in and you know
it was more than $200.
What I'm sorry, what I said? Why did I say $200?
$200 wouldn't give me a bus ticket.
2 weeks. 2 weeks of whatever
2
she
weeks,
did.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Look, that's how stories get told. His mom is
exactly. Go ahead.
But the reason why your mom saved up that money and wanted you to go and be great is because she knew that would not happen here. And me and my son had a similar conversation this week. We were actually last Sunday on Monday for Labor Day. We talked about Algiers, Louisiana, or Algiers, New Orleans, independent film shot on, I think it's on Hulu, about Etna Carr High School. Okay. And the kids talked about in this independent film, this actual footage and coverage of kids who just wanted out of their environment. In order to sometimes be great, you have to be okay with moving outside of your comfort zone and not identifying with not being able to look over and see anybody you know. And it breaks my heart that so often we feel like in order for me to be great, in order for me to get to where I'm trying to go, I got to be able to look over and identify Miss Hattie daughter's over there too, doing this here.
I agree.
She's not over there.
Let's get to the comments, but let me play this ad real quick for the recovery book. So the recovery book, there's two versions of the recovery book. The first one that's going to be released here in a couple of weeks is the recovery book guide for people with different abilities. I go step by step from the bleed brain all the way down to being paralyzed and give them the steps to take if they're in a newfound situation of a stroke or a bleed.
I told you to write that book though. I said that's gonna help people. You know, if they want to
definitely gonna do that. So the novel's gonna come a little later, but the guide, that's more important to me. So good stuff. Let's play this commercial, then we'll get to Slash. I see Slash in there talking. So let's get to this commercial real quick. So we'll be right back, folks. Just hang on one quick second. 1 sec. We'll be right back.
Somebody gon' get to tell them that I'm coming. And you can tell them that I'm coming. Tell them that I'm somebody tell the world that I'm coming. I'm trying to tell the world that I'm coming. Tell them that I'm coming. Somebody tell the world that I'm coming. Somebody tell the world that I'm coming.
Good stuff, folks. Good stuff. That's the recovery book. Available everywhere. 2 weeks. Everywhere across the globe. 2 weeks. But I'm most proud about is actually doing that book signing right there at Barnes & Noble's Elmwood. I've never done a book signing here in New Orleans.
When is the book signing, Trent?
We're working on a date with those guys. Okay. It's a process. Once they get the IBN number, they'll be able to actually, the SBIN number, I'm sorry, the IBS number. They'll be able to give me the date. So it's actually in production right now as far as being printed. So it's in publication right now. So for 2 weeks. 2 weeks it'll be released. And I'll be mentioning the book signing for the date once Barnes and Noble give me the green light for the date. So good stuff, man.
I'm
But it will
excited
be
for
in
you with this
Elmwood.
book.
It will be in
Because
Elmwood.
okay, I'm excited for this book because this book marks a different type of read that you've manufactured,
Yeah. Totally
and
different from what he
I shared with Chris Farland on last night. That's my neighbor who I connected with last night after many years.
Okay.
That wrote a book as well, and her sister wrote a book. Jane Hilaire wrote a book too. I think I shared, you and Jane shared, because Jane was working on a book too.
Yeah, I think so.
There's
Yeah,
so many. Yeah, we have so many jewels on the West Bank. This is the West Bank is the jewel of New Orleans. It really
absolutely.
is. It's different.
Absolutely.
And so you know, this book, Trent, I think that it's going to shift you into another paradigm, because
I believe
you're
that.
going to be able to, yes, because you're going to connect with people who you can't even imagine. Let me just tell you something, and mark my words, don't forget I told you this. Because I want to come to the book signing out of town with you, because you know how I like to travel, and we could go in the subway
Okay.
in New York. So I'm saying this to you to say that when you're able to take your God gift or your gut gift and give it to someone else, damn near free of charge.
That's
You
all we need
giving
to say.
somebody a blueprint, and if they add their spice on it,
Right.
and they can get through their stroke and go on to their greatness.
Absolutely.
Let me tell
Absolutely.
you, when you're able to give the gift of helping someone else, the gift comes back to you times a million in so many different ways. When you're
Yeah.
able to serve people, whether it's in writing, people think serving people is a plate of food.
It's
You
really
serve
not.
people with your gift. When you're able to
Enough
serve,
about me. Enough about me. Tell folks where they can find you so we can get out of here real quick.
I know, right, Trent? So I'm on TikTok right now. This week I was still working on my YouTube channel and didn't get it done. I need some support in that area. I am on TikTok. I'm Ursula Johnson or Ursula LeBlanc, Johnson on TikTok. On Instagram, I'm Destination Nolans on Instagram and on Facebook. I'm Ursulia. I am not Ursula. I'm Ursulia Johnson. You can find me there. You can always connect, inbox me, DM me, and of course, tell them about the website the email that you have if anybody's trying to connect with us.
Anybody trying to connect with Urs, myself, Coach D, go to Gumbo Talk at TaylorKennedyOnline.com. Taylor Kennedy, KENNEDIE online.com. Email us there if you got show topics, or you just want to connect with us or connect with me or connect with Coach D. Gumbo Talk at TaylorKennedyOnline.com. And also, you guys can catch the past streams on Taylor Kennedy TV along with Apple Podcasts, along with our podcast, or subscribe to the YouTube channel. So it's multiple sites that we actually stream live on simultaneously. So appreciate you guys, all that stuff, and appreciate the support and all that good stuff. But go out and get that recovery book, man, for a friend or somebody in a similar situation as far as having a different ability. So it doesn't have to relate to just a bleed on a brain or paralyzation or a stroke. I talk about mindset, healthy mindsets. I talk about the benefits of having a dog or owning a dog going through recovery. Kobe was
Right.
walking through this recovery. I've had Kobe since he was a puppy. He's very overprotected, but that's my baby. And he's been so beneficial to this recovery for me to where I'm walking on my own now. Thanks to Kobe, because he's
I'm
always
proud
pulling
of
me
you,
along.
Trent. I'm proud of you, Trent, because honestly, if somebody had told me that you would be where you are today, I probably would have said, I don't know, because I know it was a struggle, especially after losing Nan and Greg,
Yeah.
Kind of close in proximity,
All
Yeah.
good.
And when we met, that's one of the main things about you that you shared with me, that you had just lost your daddy. And so, I just knew you was in a very trauma place of your life,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I share in that book, I share the guidelines. So I walked that path, I blazed that trail and set it afire so those in similar situations can find their way. So
Yeah.
I'm leaving something for you guys, a trail of experience. I'm not going to say knowledge. I'm going to say experience, what I experienced on that journey. So
Experience
me,
is a great teacher.
exactly. It's my gift to you guys. So good stuff there, man. Real good stuff. So I
Yeah, I
appreciate
expect
you. I
greatness from
always
that.
appreciate you. Hey, listen, I have to tell you this before we get out of here. I didn't tell you Coach D wasn't going on because I didn't want you to panic, because you'd be like with the camera. So I'm not going to tell her until we get on to get her comfortable. Then we just go into it. So you did great.
Thank you. I'm gonna keep trying. Like the more I do it, the more I get comfortable with the camera, and I kind of the camera goes away. Because honestly, at the end of the day, Trent, it's really about the content, what we're putting out, and who lives we're trying to preserve or help save. That's
Absolutely
just where I am with. God have really been dealing with me, or for some who don't believe. God, my gut, whatever has really been dealing with me with just making sure that the content that you put out is for me is God, that the things that you say to people,
exactly.
just leave an impression and make an impact and try to save somebody's life,
I'm gonna leave you with this and we're gonna close out. As long as you're transparent, they're gonna gravitate to you. Period.
I could say something too. Yes.
Go ahead.
You ready? I like that you said that. As we close, I would like to say that listen, don't follow nobody off the bridge and jump when they jump. Blaze your own trail. Be epic.
No more talk. There you go. Good stuff. You guys take care.
Yes. Good night.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.